Woohoo! Welcome back to Hex Token channel. Hope you guys are having a good time. Welcome to the PulseX live show. That's what we're going to talk about. PulseX every day, in, day and out. That's how we roll at the moment. Of course, we're counting down the number of days left. I think it's like something like 28 days or so. We're just counting that down. Very, very cool. We're going to talk a lot of stuff today. We're going to talk about Hex, obviously price, PulseX numbers, also day 29 results. We're also going to talk about Richard Hart's latest on PulseX testing. We're going to talk about liquid loans and sacrifice phase. We're going to go into that. We can talk about the broader markets and the Fed Reserve. We're going to talk about that too. So I hope you guys enjoy the content. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, I will, as usual, put some contents in the timeline there so you guys can look at that afterwards for those watching the live afterwards. So very, very cool. Let's get in the house. We're starting off with an awesome start. MVM is in the house, the latest Hex Token channel member. Big shout out to MVM, as I say. So very cool to see the support. So I appreciate that. And welcome. Javier says, I will miss this one live, but we'll watch the replay. Hey, Javier, very, very cool. And there will be a contents timeline by the time you get to watch it. So nice. Marco's in the house. Woo-hoo-hoo! Nice one. And we got, was that negative G, Obi? Obi-Wan's in the house. Negative G. Hey, negative G. Easy says, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That's pretty intense there, Easy. Welcome, everybody. Of course, PulseX live results. We're going to get into all that sort of stuff. Otis is here. Well, what time is it? Says Otis. It's time to start. That's what it says. Oh, starts in 5 minutes. Yeah, there we are. We're started now. Brendan's in the house. Our moderator, Hex Token, and all. Woo! Nice one. And Brenton says, have a question about Richard's interview today. He said that the auto burn is not going to work with PLS and PLX. I understand that, but did he say for sure that manually it will be? So he says pretty much on that one, Brent, it's pretty much going to be a bit of a magical buy and burn. We talked about that yesterday. There's a number of approaches that he could take to doing that. He could make it time bound. In other words, daily, intraday, weekly. He could do something like that. He could do it strategically, like a whale might do it, for example, wait for the market to sell down and then buy the stuff up real cheap, get a lot of bag, take it off the market, burn. Or he could do a nice little support parabola rises in the price. And we've seen that behavior in Hex price. So, yeah, it's certainly a possibility there. Alex Fame says, hello, Hex Token and all. Hey, good to see you, Alex, in the house. And it's now very, very cool. One of our latest members for sure. I think last member. So nice to see you in the chat there. Sup, Hexicans. So very cool. Brazology's in the house. Another moderator too. Woohoo. Very, very cool. Let me make sure I'm on the sound is going. Let's make sure that's sounds good. So nice. Let me pull it up a little bit so I can hear a little bit. And I will jump to the old, let me get up to the Discord there too. So nice. And Morris is in the house. Hi, guys. Hey, good to see you, Morris. Very, very cool. And Yakia Aloni's in the house. Woo-hoo-hoo! Hey, nice. I feel the chant of PulseX is in the house as well as the Hex Token channel. So very cool. Brendan says, okay. So it's safe to say that it will definitely have a burn function on both of those tokens. That's correct, Brendan. Yeah, very much so. So Refined says, big show, absolutely Refined. Good to see you in the house. Hey, welcome everybody. I noticed that I try to time the live shows a little bit different to other shows, but I noticed that there are one or two others on at the moment. But thank you all for dropping by. We're going to talk about PulseX. That's what's the big deal at the moment. Let's keep talking about that. And Casey says, please choose to make a good wealth. Yes, I'm not quite sure what that. Please, Jane, Pulsechain to make good wealth. Yes, yeah, very good. True, that's very true, Casey. Woohoo! Says CryptoPay. Cool. And Crypto Maniacs in the house. Hello. Hey, welcome everybody. Subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. Let's get straight into it. We've got Hex price at the moment. We were ramping it. So we actually got a nice pump here. So this is when the news came out from Richard that the PulseX was being tested on a private test net. And that's pretty cool. I presume he's meaning Pulsechain testnet too. So very, very cool. As opposed to off private. So that wasn't completely clear on that. But there we are. That was what happened. And then it took about an hour before the market decided to go. The market decided to lift after that news, of course, which was here 10 o'clock my time or something like that. So I didn't actually see that notice there. Then, of course, we had a massive ramp up in price. We went up, I said massive. It's a decent price rise, 6% there. Massive in cryptos, maybe 60-70% plus or something. But yeah, we had a good price rise, let me put it that way. And then, of course, we ended up pulling down on profits back down to 19.4 cents. But we actually hit 20.3 cents. So that was pretty good on that rally. And that getting over that 20 cent would have been so cool. Very, very cool. But what we do have, folks, is we do have we had this low here on the hourly, but we do have a lower low at the moment. So that's really good. So we've got a bonus out of that. Very, very cool. This green candle was the $3 million buy that we had the other yesterday or day before, whatever it was. So I actually got the timer. I should just use the timeline then. So how long ago? That was a day and 22 hours ago. Don't you love the timeline thing? So a day and 22 hours ago, that's when we had the big 3 million buy. They appeared to have staked all that too. And of course, now, of course, we had a big sell-off here. So what this was a big stake came out and they sold down. What was it? I think it was, I'm just going off memory here, maybe 12, 13, was it 15 million? I can't remember, somewhere in that number. Anyway, they sold, it was worth $2.5 million US. They sold that down. It came out of a stake and then they sold it down. They did pay us a penalty though. So if you're a T-shirt holder, the staker paid us about 1.2 million hex or something in penalties for their privilege to sell them down on the market for $2.5 million. Very, very cool. Now I couldn't actually trace the account, but they probably, maybe that was what they originally had. So very, very cool. We may have had another OG exit. That's the one I'm trying to say there. So very, very cool. So here we got the price just recovering after that. We dropped all the way from 19.4 cents all the way down to 17.5 cents on this red candle just only 5 hours ago. And that just happened to be just before the day ended. That's why we had a negative result on the day. Otherwise, we would have been up probably, is my guess. 19.4, you would have been up slightly. So it would have been quite good. But we have recovered partially. We're starting to get a bit more momentum now. It's taken a little bit longer. But we know we were down here at 17. We recovered down to, we recovered back up to 18.4. And now we're just starting to recover a bit. And now we're starting to get the momentum back. Whenever you have a big sell or a big buy even, that momentum sort of takes the direction and you've got to offset that. But we've had a pretty good, nice little bounce back. We're now back to 18.57 cents. So that's actually pretty good. And of course, we do have, I guess you could say there's a high low, or you could say this is slightly higher low here if you're going to take the bottom of this one. So let's see where we go from here. Very, very cool. That's the hourly. Let's jump over to the daily and check this out on the day for Hex. And let us wait for that to render. So here it is, our timeline. Let us get into the end of Pulsechain PulseX Sacrifice. Let's take it from this day. So we've got 28 days to go to the end of the PulseX Sacrifice. So the days are counting down. Once we get under a month, it just starts to psychologically count down. As some might call it a time bias or something. Now people always like to say price bias or number bias or something, whatever they're saying. That's just the case there. So cool. So there are 28 days to go on that one. And we've just been pretty much, if you look at the price, we're kind of still in this range, aren't we? Between, let's take the bottom here, between 17.2 cents and at the best 20 cents. So the 3 cent range there at the moment. So let's look to break out of there at some stage. Very, very cool. Going to need a couple of decent buys coming in to get us moving up that. But we are 28 days. As we go, 28 days starts to squeeze towards the PulseX. Possibly we might start getting some price rise as it gets squeezed out. But also the news about Pulsechain Testnet 3. We've got to wait for that stuff. So I'm going to hold off to talk about that until we get up to Richard's tweet. But that's the case. So we'll just wait to see how that happens. We're in this big triangle at the moment, of course. We didn't actually hit the support line of 16 cents. We got pretty close, but we didn't quite hit it. So there we are. Got a bit of a gap. All right, cool. Let us get into some. Before I go to the next topic, I'm just going to go through the chat there. Yucky says, thank you, bro, for your time. I appreciate that, Yucky. Right back at you. And Wales Only just ended. Yeah, so I knew Wales Only was on. He was on ages ago, so I knew there was a good chance that he was going to wrap up there. Brennan says, great, thanks, Hex Token, for clearing my questions. You're most welcome. Crypto says, Pay says, no sound. Really? Really? No sound? Sounds like I got sound to me, so seems okay. Yep, there is sound. I can hear him. Yep, and my bad. Yes, sound. Good one, Crypto Pay. And a thumbs up there. Cool. Chaprin's in the house with the money bags and the rockets and the shades. I love it. And Brazology, it's now says, one of my recent onboards asked me if there was an easy place to see what people in stakes are doing. See what people's in stakes are doing, restaking or selling. Well, there's the whale bot for the whale bot on Twitter, and there's also Hex.vision. That's probably the two places you might want to go to. There's a couple other sites that do some sort of things around that, but it's probably the best place to go to is Hex.vision. There is another site I'm thinking of, but I just can't remember the name at the moment. So try those two to start. So the Hex Whalebot on Twitter for the bigger accounts, and for the smaller accounts, which really don't make too much influence if you think about it. But on aggregate, I guess if you add them up, they do. But that's Hex.vision, maybe something like that. Cool. Hexodl says, hey, BitConnect. No BitConnect, Hexodl. No BitConnect here. BitConnect. Sungray says, thanks for doing these live streams. The consistency is amazing. Good work. I appreciate that. And the consistency is my number one principle to try and live by in most cases. You sound perfect, says Temperance. Thanks very much. Audio is good, says Brazology. And quantifiably correct says, good stuff. Feeling bullish from all the sac pricing. Just can't get carried away, but I do enjoy lamb. Yeah, lamb's pretty good. We got plenty of lamb down here in New Zealand. Plenty of lamb. Not as many lambs as we used to have, but we got plenty of lamb still. John Gibbons says, thanks as always, Hex Token. Any news on Hex Scale? No news, but I wonder, we might, I was thinking about that $3 million buy the other day. The account looked like new. That could easily be the new token. It could easily be possibly some initial buying from Kinetics and that. They're not going to tell us, I don't think, too much on that, but I have been trying to follow Kinetics' update. So if you guys hear something before I do, I am pretty diligent with that, but if you hear something, let us know. But that definitely opened up in pretty much on the 30th of December, but probably wouldn't have started ramping up till mid-January. We do know that some Hexkins have been interviewed by their Mountain Advisors crew, and that is associated that with if you've accredited investor over a net worth over $1 million, then those people got interviewed. So I know that people like exologists and stuff like that, Wales Only, have used their own Wales Only used their own service. So definitely something to look out for. But we're probably looking out for those accounts, John. Get an idea if we see some big buys coming in the multi-millions. We're looking out for that. So it's just a matter of finding which one. Maybe one keeps on buying a couple $1 million here and there. That may very well be the Hex Scale. But we'll wait for Kinetics. Hopefully we might get some more news soon on that. The other thing, of course, is we had Funding Jim, the billionaire liaison, as I call him, in here a couple of days ago, and he just left us a nice little Easter egg as he exited the chat, and he's basically said there's some I can't remember the exact phrase, but it's basically there are some big new people coming into the space, so watch out, folks. 2022 is going to rock, and I think we'll definitely see some of these billionaires come in. I am cautious, though, about the markets generally and also the value of crypto. I always talk about the income and the assets. Those are the two things. So hopefully that doesn't fall too much because that limits even the power of whales to go into things. But then again, it is a pretty you've got to have some gleaming light amongst the black swan events, I guess. So we'll see how that plays out. John Gibbons says, thanks. Oh, it's always nice. Mike says, many are waiting to stake there with Hedron. Do you have any comments on Hedron since you are mentioning liquid loans? Yeah, I need to catch up on Hedron and do a lot more work around that. I was supposed to do it about a week ago. I haven't done that, but I will follow up on that. I'm just, we've got so many cool stuff with Richard Hart, and I think the liquid loans fits in quite nicely. And I know Hedron has a lot of benefits too. So let me get my head around that first, and then I'll maybe start talking about that. I think we're going to get so many X's just in the main ecosystem, I think. But we'll look at that because I know you can borrow, you can get some free stuff in that. I'm just a little bit nervous about if it wraps up your actual stake contracts. I'll be very nervous about that because that your Hex is so valuable, and as I said, there's going to be more people coming in the space, so it's going to become even more valuable. So it's going to be interesting. It's now Staker app. Yeah, Staker app. Oh yeah, Hexodl. Yeah, so really good point, Hexodl. There's Staker app, and the link is in the video description. So if you want to get Staker app, get that. that shows you stuff that's coming out too. So nice one, Hex Huddle. It's now. I never saw it in there. I will look again. Thanks. Radius says, by the way, are you able to exchange the token to USD right away? So you're talking about Hex. If you're talking about Hex, then yes. Yeah, just let us know if that's what your answer to your question is. Hex, see more under highlights past 24 hours. Yeah, that's right, on the Staker app. Nice. Do you mean highlights? Yeah. Hex Huddle says, can also copy and paste. Nice. And it's now gotcha. Sorry, I'm reading up your conversations and I don't mean to do that, so we'll jump past those. Largest wallet stakers are in the feed. I'm still doing it. Craig Wedding's in the house. Hey, Craig, good to see you. Woohoo! Nice. And hey, we're getting a good crew in the house at the moment, watching at the moment. So very cool. Welcome, of course. Subscribe, like, and share. We're trying to head up to 2,800. Let me just see what we're at the moment on the channel. 2,779. So definitely subscribe. We're 21 away. Share the video channel out. That really does help. And getting over that 3K mark is going to be the next big challenge. But I think really does help with the algorithms as we go. Now, Brendan says, did all your tokens get wiped today on the Free Pulse website today? Or was it just me? Yeah, mine got wiped too there, Brendan. I just had a look. I'm not promoting it, but I did see it. Now, the thing with that site is that they're advertising the site, but then they've got this FP sacrifice that they're going to hold later on. So it's just like, well, are you actually giving away up to $200 an hour when it goes live, or actually you're going to do a raise a sacrifice, get super rich, and then give a little bit of that away, and then have a little thing there say that you might do market buybacks, you might do this. And I didn't like that approach at all. It's not very upfront or transparent. That's why I stopped. That's why I deleted all my promotions of that. So that's where that. But I still go and play it. I mean, it's fun to play. It's just a platform, and there's not real stuff on there at the moment. But I didn't like the way that they angled in it. I did see them that they were on Crypto Copies channel. But once again, I'm just I don't like that approach because it's not really somebody giving away stuff because they made heaps of stuff in Hex. It's really the fact they're going to have a big sacrifice, and maybe they'll just use those funds and then get rich out of it. It's like that's not upfront. I'd rather people just be upfront, say we're going to get rich out of this. Here's the sacrifice. Join us if you want. It's better just to say that. Brendan says, did all your tokens? Yeah, so cool. Tefrin says, so yes, the answer is yes, Brendan. Tefrin says, check out Rag to Riches channel. He has a good interview with Hedron, a creator. Yeah, there are a couple around on the Hedron stuff that have been interviewed with him. Hedron creator. And like, share, and subscribe, says Rudius. Yeah, definitely do that. And what else? We got Matt and Barley just tuned in. Never got a notification today, or did I see a video in my menu? It wasn't until I rolled other videos that I saw it. I don't know why their system does that. The YouTube system doesn't seem to. It's always hard to tell why that's falling over with the notifications. But definitely hit the bell just in case you do get the indication. So nice. All right. Hey, I just lost one subscriber. You're not supposed to unsubscribe, it's supposed to subscribe you. I just looked at there and got lost one subscriber. It's just to subscribe, not unsubscribe. So cool. Anyway, get into it, folks. That's pretty funny. Hex says, smash the like. Thank you, Hex Token, for another great bit. I appreciate that. And I never get notifications either. Yeah, just weird, eh? Just maybe double check your bell. Make sure you got all notifications on there. I don't know. It's just weird. John Gibbons says, is there a sacrifice for liquid loans? Yes, there is. It's one of the topics for today's live show. So we're going to talk about that, John. We're going to go through that and recently in depth. The sacrifice is any time now. So we will talk about that. And definitely we're going to get onto that one later. Let's jump on to PulseX. This is the main bit for the live stream. So let's get on to PulseX Sacrifice. We're up to $951,179,592 on ETH. That is awesome on the Ethereum blockchain. Pretty awesome. And that's a pretty number, right? It's a pretty number. All right, so we've got 19 hours, and 40 minutes to go until a 5% rise again. And the current rate is 10,000 points for $2.41. $2.41 for 10,000 points. So you got your base points. Those are going to cost you $2.41 for 10,000. And then, of course, you get ranked based on the amount of your US dollar sacrifice, and your US dollar determines the volume multiplier. So your base amount times the volume multiplier is the total amount of PulseX tokens that you'll get as an airdrop, because you're sacrificing for freedom of association, which, as you know, I'm very passionate about freedom. So go for it. All right, so rate per 10,000 sacrifice points. This is where we're at the moment. We've got the dollars on the left here on the vertical axis. On the horizontal, we've got the time, and here we are here. We're basically in day 30 at the moment, day 30, and this is where we're at the moment. So $2.41. I had to actually look at it to remind myself. $2.41, and it's still early days, but we are getting up there. I think once we get up to $3 mark, we're sort of getting into the medium period days before we get up to this hardcore stuff. So at the moment, the price, the price is going to be 000241. If you can imagine that, 000241 for 10,000, excluding the volume multiplier. So 000241 would be the price at the end of the 10th here. On the 9th, the price was, of course, about, I think it was 0001, maybe up to 1214, somewhere in like that mark. So was that 10,000? Yeah. So it was 0001 at that time. So excluding the volume multiplier. So there we are. That's where we were at the time. So definitely getting up there. But hey, I think we can all think that the price is going to probably eventually blitz that 000424 mark. And so my price target at the moment is 001. It's my price target, but we'll take some volatility to get there. It may overshoot on the open, but then we'll see how it goes after that to level out a bit. Cool. All right, let's jump over to PulseX.info. So if you want to do a sacrifice, make sure you do your due diligence. You are sacrificing for freedom of association. Therefore, you're not actually just giving away your money, but your crypto, I should say, but for a good cause. But you will be getting an airdrop of PulseX. So cool. That's pretty much how that's going to work. So after the Pulsechain mainnet releases, sacrifices will be able to access their free PLX on the Pulsechain. So that's all you have to do. You just have to add the Pulsechain when it goes live. At the moment, we're just on a testnet version 2. But when it goes live, then you'll be able to see your sacrifice points at that time. You'll be able to see them early when the distribution file comes out. But that's when they'll be real. When you'll be able all you have to do is switch over from Ethereum over to the Pulsechain, and you'll see your tokens on the blockchain there. You can use an Explorer, or you can add the PulseX token contract to your MetaMask wallet so you can see it on the Pulsechain. So those are two ways of seeing that. So cool. All right, so this is the site, of course. Most people are sacrificing to the Ethereum address with Binance Smart Chain, Polygon Matic, Avalanche, Ethereum Classic compatible Ethereum chains. And of course, all you have to do is send from your wallet. So there we are, just send from your wallet to there. That's pretty much the easiest thing. And of course, it's also easier just sending some of the main tokens, Hex, ETH, stable coins, USDC, something like that, DAI, etc. Probably the easiest way. That way you have no issues with, it's all recorded on the blockchain, pretty easy, you have no issues. If you want to send to other chains like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, etc., then just follow the rest of the instructions down the bottom there, steps 1 to 3. So very, very cool. All right, so let's jump over to Pulse Leads. Now, all the links in the video description, so you can check those out. Nice. Let us get up to the main event here. So we're going to refresh this because I don't know if I refreshed it recently, but this is getting awesome. So this is PulseXLeads.com, and of course it includes Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon Matic. So 2 more chains than the official site, PulseX.com. It's got 3 chains, and of course $996,567,341 on there. Man, we're not too far away from $1 billion on here as well. I would suggest that we're probably up around about 1,024 million, somewhere in that ballpark, in the total amounts, like including stuff that's not included on these 3 chains. So very, very cool. Could be even slightly higher. It's going pretty well in there. So it depends what's happening on the Bitcoin chain sacrifice. Estimated total sacrifice points is finally hit 17 trillion. That's one of the things I put into the video title. 17 trillion, folks. This doesn't include the Origin account, which we're expecting to sacrifice probably at the last 5 days, during the last 5 days, similar to Pulsechain. That gives it a controlling amount of the supply. It is what we would call an active supply or circulating supply. In other words, it's just going to sit there. So this still makes what we might call the effective supply. But it does allow the Origin account to have control, some sense of control over the project. So it really is quite cool. It is more of a feature and a benefit of Richard Hart's tokenomics, just as it was in Pulsechain and and Hex. And Hex, it's far more, probably got the most use cases in Hex. It regulates the circulating supply, the APY or the return that you get on there, also the inflation. by staking, by the Origin account staking over a period of time. Also reduces the actual inflation really that hits the market. So it does have quite a few things. Big payday, of course, it's staked, and of course we saw it up over 80. Was it 80? Just forgetting now. 89, somewhere 89%. No, sorry, 98.4%. I think it was somewhere in that mark. Was for big payday. That prevented a lot of speculators getting a lot of 200, 300% types on their Hex, rather, and instead they got about 30, 40%. And of course that does things like that. So that has worked for the benefit. Very, very cool. But once again, you're not supposed to expect anything from the work of others, and of course, delayed gratification is typically something that is part of the culture in Hexkins, at least. We'll see how much that translates into, Pulse and PulseX, because they obviously have different features on that. So that's pretty cool. Let us see the top 100. Of course, we've got still got 7 wallets over 10 million, and let's have a look at the top 100. You need pretty much looks similar to yesterday. 1,189,923 on the sacrifice. Effective is 1,028,000. So that's how much you need to get into the top there. And of course, the multiplier is about 1.93 for them. So that's the multiplier. Let's have a look at the Magic Carpet Ride, see whether they've done much. So they were sitting at number 21. Now, Magic Carpet Ride is a pool or a syndicate. That's where a group of people that don't really know each other get together in Telegram, and a couple of them actually lead it and have a spreadsheet, and then they all sacrifice onto Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum, and then they sacrifice together. The reason why they do that is because they're trying to get a higher volume multiplier. Remember, the second component is the volume multiplier based on how much US dollar that you sacrifice. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to play that second component, get a higher volume multiplier, and that will times it by their base amount. So instead, if you're a small little player, maybe you got $1,000 or $100 you're going to sacrifice, you would have only got to multiply about 1.02 or something like that. You're now going to get 2.14. So you've over doubled the bags. You're getting the same multipliers the big whales are getting, and you're smiling. You're very happy, but you've taken on the trust of that group to do it. So that's the only Achilles heel, as you might say. Potential, not necessary, of course. So that's that, and of course you can see them on YouTube. So we do follow them because it's pretty interesting to see how that will play out. We've got a couple of people in the chat like Ramon and that are a part of that. So here they are sitting at number 21, and a DE807 is the wallet, and 4.2 million has been sacrificed, and effective 3.9 million. Very, very cool. And we'll just look at the view transaction, see what they've done. So the 26th was the last day. Did $1,700, 7,000, 5,000, 0.24 ETH, and 50 BUSD. So those are the main ones they've done there. Of course, 4 tokens from Ethereum on chain, and BUSD from the Binance Smart Chain. So that's cool. That's what they did basically yesterday. So they're still sacrificing, still slowly creeping up on their multiplier, which is 2.147 from the looks there. So cool. That's well done to them. All the best. We're going to follow their journey for sure. They're also doing the sacrifice for liquid loans. Last time that I got an update, they were around 600,000. They may be very much higher than that now. And of course, that could be any time. We're going to talk about that later in the live stream. Very, very cool. All right. So let's have a look at the top 500 wallets and check that out. Let's have a look here. We're going to scroll down. So $201,848 to get in the top 500. Very cool. That's pretty much similar to yesterday. So not expecting a lot of changes in these now. From time to time, $100,923 in the top 1,000. As I said, top 1,000 wallets will control probably 73-75% of the total supply, excluding the Origin account. So this 17 trillion as an estimate. So that's cool. Let's have a good look. But like I say, the positive is that they'll be buying and selling amongst themselves. Plus, when the bridge opens, then a flood of people will come over. So let's say we've got 100 to 120, 150,000 sacrifices that'll be part of the original start. They're the early adopters. Once the bridge opens up, you're potentially hundreds of thousands to low millions. Let me say that, low millions, hundreds of thousands to low millions in a very short space of time. So very, very exciting about that. So, when I say short space of time, 6 months to 12 months, maybe even 18 months in there. But I expect to see hundreds of thousands of people coming in very fast indeed. Very cool. So let's have a look at top 5,000. Top 1,000, $20,000. So that's pretty much stayed the same too for several days in a row now. So 20,000 is the total. But we're at 120,730 wallets. That is awesome. So that has been going so well. And man, oh man, that's a beautiful number. That is Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, and Polygon Matic. So very, very cool. Okay, that's a breakdown by the wallets and the totals. Let's have a look by the tokens, and then we're going to have a look by the chains as well. So the tokens are my favorite one, which is Hex. As you guys know, I always smile when it comes on. So 552.752,731,970 dollars, and that is a 2,159,101,665 Hex. Now I always smile about that because it's going to be off the market in the sacrifice address on the ETH chain, and then also off the market on the Pulse chain, which means that there will be less on both chains. And I estimate that's kind of a quasi number, around about 7.5% of circulating supply. So I think that's brilliant. And that doesn't include Pulsechain, which also had a big sacrifice, and that stuff's off the market as well. So very exciting stuff there. So very cool. We've got Ethereum at 231.5 million, and USDC at 106.5 million, USDT is 46 million, BUSD at 16.6 million. So those are our top 5. And the very interesting aspect of this, of course, is that we're making a sacrifice. But we've got all these stable coins sitting in the PulseX Sacrifice. We've also got all these stable coins sitting in the Pulsechain Sacrifice, which was back in last year between the 15th July and, of course, the 3rd of August was the official time. And then, of course, we had a grace mercy period after that, which is actually still in effect. If you want to pick up a little bit of Pulse at a very expensive rate, then you can pick that up if you want to do some transactions for your PulseX, for example, switching some over to Pulse. Might be one of the avenues you might want to do. So very, very cool. But Richard's also teased on the Maddie Allen show in the social group there on day 4 of the Hexpo conference. I think it was the 9th of January. The fact that, hey, we've got over $600 million in stable coins. I feel like we've got a bit too much money. Maybe we might spend some money this year. So that's a little hint from him. That's about as much as you'll get ever on that sort of thing. In fact, it's probably the first admission I've ever seen him give around that. So if you want to watch that again, go do it. I might actually post that on this channel because that's probably the most insightful thing that you get to find out about this mysterious origin account and the sacrifice, of course, and expect nothing from the work of others, all that good stuff. And the reason behind that, of course, is we looked in yesterday is the Howey test and, of course, the SEC and the fact that the Hex, Pulse, and PulseX are not securities from the sacrifice point of view. Total supply is given at the beginning, and, of course, the value is 0. So at least on the Pulse chain and PulseX. So that's where it starts. So very, very cool. You are sacrificing freedom of speech and freedom of association, and respectively. So very cool. All right, so those are the good results. Then we had BNB sitting at 14 million. Was it DAI here? Is that DAI? Yeah. DAI at 5.9 million, and Matic at 4.8 million. Wrap Bitcoin at 3.4, and then Shiba at 3.2. And this is the other thing. We also know that we've got Hexkins, Pulsekins, and PulseXkins going around to these Twitter storms. They're really cool, spreading the words to these communities about the sacrifice. So Shiba's been one of those that have been quite successful. So you can see that really can have really good results, and it also onboards people from those communities. So pretty cool. Then we've obviously got quite a few others here following afterwards. Some of the other interesting aspects are Cake, of course, Uni. These are all going to be harvested by the AMM bot, and of course that's coming up. We're going to talk about that soon with Richard Hart's tweet, and it's going to be testnet 3.0. From the looks of it. So cool. So we've still got some of these in the house there as well, sacrificing. So that's pretty cool. And what else we got there that's of interest? Quick, of course, is down there on the Polygon network and so forth. So nice. So yeah, Cake on the BSC, Uni on the ETH, Quick on the Polygon network. So some pretty interesting stuff there, folks. So very, very cool. Let's have a look at separate this out by chains now. Bam. I love that. Hats off to systems was it Genesis Systems? What's his name? I always forget. There are Game Systems 10. That's the developer of the site. So big hats off to him, and you can donate to him on the top right there if you want to give him a few bucks of crypto or something. Very, very cool for the efforts. All right, so we've got Hex, we've got Ethereum at the top 4 chains. We've got Binance Smart Chain in the top 3, and then followed by, when's the next one for Polygon is at number 15 here. So those are the top 15. So very, very cool on that. Yeah, pretty good BNB in there too, I think. So that's pretty nice. 14.1 million. Nice. So we'll get a lot of these people. The other thing, of course, with the yield farming ones with like Cake and stuff, we're going to get a lot of adoption from there. All those people are going to come over that are yield farming on these other platforms. Phantom, Atrium, Kronos. I mean, these guys are all going to be over there, right? So, in fact, I think Crow here is sitting. Look, here's Crow over down here. So, all these yield farmers is going to come into the space, and it's going to be the biggest yield farm in PulseX. It's going to be amazing to watch. It's going to be fantastic. So I think the earliest Richard talks about, he wants to launch as early as possible, as obviously once everything's lined up, all the software's been tested. He doesn't want to necessarily wait around for the very bottom of the bear market, stuff like that. So I think that's really great. So yeah, looking forward to it. So those are the live results, folks. Let's get in some of the chats, and then we're going to get into day 29 results after that. So let's just catch up here with some of the comments here. Francia says, hello, Hexkins. Good to see you. John Gibbons got the set of thumbs up. Nice. And Matt and Barley says, my bell was turned off. Just noticed that, but never turned it off, says Matt. Yeah, who knows? Who knows why they do that? It's just a bit weird, some of the stuff. Hexholder says, you could try changing your thumbnail to your face closer and bigger images. YouTube algorithm will propagate the stream better, and it does currently look a bit scammy at first. Oh, does it really? I actually thought they looked pretty good with the purple colors of the of the Pulsechain and stuff. But let's have a look here. Your face, yeah. I don't think I've actually put my face on those there. So yeah, you're talking about me putting my face on there. Okay, good. I appreciate the feedback. I'll think about that. Sinful Believe says US Fed's going to increase rates slowly this year. Be prepared for a year of bear market, in my opinion. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, Sinful Believer, because you're onto something there. So we'll talk about that. Mike, once Pulsechain launches, will Pulse be able to be converted to a stablecoin that has a $1 peg? Well, once the bridge opens, there's probably a good chance of that. With the stables getting copied over PRC20s and stuff, we'll be interested to see how their value takes place. No one really knows, but my guess is that they'll probably move close to 1, but they can be above or below 1. So we'll see. It's my guess they will. But the ERC20s coming over, they should be as well. I think that's what the stables are used as. So yeah. Francia says, woohoo! Hey, Francia, good to see you. And Get says, when we know the Pulse network mainnet address for MetaMask, not until it launches. So the earliest time frame at the moment is early March. It's probably the earliest time frame. I think I've got that on the price chart here. So these two turquoise bars here, it's possibly the earliest 5th of March and 18th of March being the latest. But this is kind of just based on the current information at the moment. Of course, this could end up moving into April. It just depends on how testnet 3 goes with the AMM bot running. We're going to talk about that soon anyway. We're almost up to that, so we're not too far away from talking about that. Cool. And it's now, I think it's launches. Cool. Yeah, it's when it launches. Yeah, so Pulsechain mainnet will be available when it launches. Yeah. Nice one. Yes, the Sacrifice IO. We're going to talk about the sacrifice shortly. RH will retweet it. Yeah, so everything will officially come from Richard Hart. So just make sure you're aware of that. Alex Fame says, just curious, where do you see Hex PLX in coin rankings in the next 4 years? Well, it depends on the next 4 years. Well, it's probably a battle between Pulse and Hex, if you ask me. Now, the only reason why I say that is because I'm just curious about the supply of PulseX. The buy and burn's definitely superior to the Pulse by a long shot, like a massive long shot. But it's just the total supply on the market is the offsetting factor for that. So yeah, that's where I see that, and I know a lot of billionaires coming into the Hex and Pulsechain space, like the millionaires and billionaires, be coming into that. So PLXX, even though it's got a better buy and burn by a long shot, we've already shown the numbers for that, right? And we could get $1 million a day on the buy and burn. It's crazy numbers, even higher than that, $2 million. So it is pretty crazy numbers. But in the short term, definitely PulseX. Once we get an idea of how much PulseX gets put into the liquidity pools, and we get an idea of what's sort of circulating, I think we'll have a better idea. But the buy and burn is going to be massive for those, right? Going to be massive. So it's tricky. Sometimes financial benefit of the buy and burn doesn't match what people's perceptions are. For example, a Pulsechain compared to Ethereum. So when you get more conservative big money, and that's they might just come into the Pulsechain and Hex as opposed to the PulseX, even though it's a financially massively better upside in some ways, subject to the staking. So we really don't know. We're going to find out. But in the short term, I'm playing for the PulseX. and I want to accumulate more Pulse after that. That's kind of my play at this stage. Hex said, yeah, those vids with faces and open mouth up close get most hits on YouTube, do they? Okay, yeah, I see one of the guys that does Hex pricing. He posts like every couple of hours, and he has his face on there with the same look on it. So it's quite funny. I don't know if I want to paste that all the time. Funny looks like that, but hey. Matt in Bali says, I'll send you a PulseX shirt from Bali. We bought the material the other day. Just go to sort logo colors and stuff. Stay tuned, maybe for launch. Hey, nice one, Matt. PulseX, sorry, says Matt. Yeah, I guessed that one. Varna's in house. Hex was wife changing. Really? What do you change with Pulse and PulseX now? I'm happy with the current model. What do I change with Pulse and PulseX now? I'm happy with the current model. Yeah, I'm not quite sure that first part of that question there. What do I change with Pulse and PulseX? Maybe a car in the house. I don't know, something like that. Rudius says, when Pulsechain mainnet launches, we can exchange PulseX to Pulse, right? Yes, you can. There's going to be about a day or two before the bridge is opened, and the Pulsechain bridge, which we've already tested. If you want to see all the dApps that are running in public now, check out my video, Let's Play, on the Pulsechain testnet too. We go through all the public elements at the moment. So we go through staking Hex on go.hex. We do play with the Pulsechain bridge, swapping between there and Robstein Ethereum test network. We do the Pulsechain, the swap on there, using Uniswap version 2 on Pulsechain. We do all that stuff, including the faucets. So do check that out. It really is a cool video. That's the Let's Play video. So just check that. I did that about a couple of days ago. So check that out. Hex Hodl says, yep. And Hex Force says, I'm excited about the NASCAR sponsorship. Can't wait to buy diecast version. Yeah, so Hex Force, really good point. We talked about the NASCAR yesterday and the fact that they had hit the over 600,000 US dollars. I think they've got about $30,000 spare, and they're probably going to look at doing lots of other publicity around that. And apparently the top 40 races go in, and so only unless they get 41 races will there be pre-racing. They have particular rules around that, but if there's only 4 cars that have got the racing, that are qualified, got the racing money, then they will be racing straight away to the main race. So it's going to be interesting to see that play out. But hats off to the team for doing that. That's pretty cool. We covered that in depth yesterday, so check that out on the previous live stream if you want to look at that one. But huge NASCAR sponsorship for Hex, massive, and they're going to make the car very simple as possible. They're also trying to get the car to have either 38 or 40 on it, so that the APY 3840 makes it a lot easier to do numbers. When you put too many numbers on something, it gets really busy. They're going to make the car keep the gradient colors, but make it more simple, because all the rest of those cars are just covered over just with lots of stuff on it. It's just too busy, and of course they want to make the car stand out even more because the colors obviously pop really well. So nice one, Hex Force. Brendan says, car in a house. Good answer. Yeah. Quantifiably correct. Pulse is going to pump like mad. Then probably no other way violently. Yeah, that's right. And Matt and Barley says, you change other people's attitudes towards Rich Hart and the coins he's developed. He's done good for the community, but took slack for no reason. Yeah. Well, those walls are coming down, right? Those critics. We've now got a lot of the influencers in the crypto space that used to criticize them and be skeptical about Hex, who paid the price for that, missing out on the best price chart in crypto for the last, pretty much most of 2020 and most of 2021. So that they missed out on that. They realized that. So now they're in Pulsechain, and you watch them, they're going to be shilling Pulsechain to the hundreds of millions of people that they've got within their broader scheme. So it's going to be pretty good for all of us here. So yeah. And also obviously we've seen we're going to watch a video later, but Hex in the news. So we're going to get to that. All right. So there's the comments, folks. Let's jump over to the actual results for day 29. Let's jump here. You can see that Hex is still at 55.46% of all sacrificed on those 3 chains, and nice. Let's go to day 29 results. So the result was 1,966,670. That was the sacrifice amount, and that compares to 1.8 million yesterday. So a better day today. Really cool. So we've actually seen a better day over every day since day 26. We've been climbing actually in the sacrifice amount, so it's pretty cool. Today's one is currently running at 247, so $250,000 at the moment, and we're about almost 5 hours in, so about 19 hours to go until we get another clock over. And of course, that total at the day 29 finish was 996,350,000. So 996,350,000, pretty cool. and obviously we're up to 996,597, and we're only obviously not too far away. So those are results for day 29. We're in day 30, and yeah, we've got 996,567. Let's just refresh this, see if we've got slightly higher than this. 996,596, so slightly higher, and we're not too far away from 1 billion just on these 3 chains alone. And as I say, I estimate the total around about 1 billion and 25 million, 24 million, somewhere in that mark as the total probably at the moment, including the other chains and tokens. So cool. All right, so looking good there. Let us jump over to the PulseX table, and of course, very cool. Let us scroll down here. We're on day 30, so 241. Yep, let's jump over to PulseX. And yep, 241 for 10,000 points. That looks all good to me. So there we are at the moment. And let us scroll up. So that's where we are at the moment. So if you were to use $1 used to get you 10,000 points back on day 12. Now on day 30, it will get you 4,155. So that's a big difference. 10,000 down to 4,155, but probably still a relatively good rate if you were topping up or if you're new joining, because you'll have to hold on a bit longer than others for to get the bigger returns, because obviously a lot of people got them before you, but still, I think in the long-term scheme of things, if you think that there's going to be big X's in the price, then this is still early ties for sure. Pretty early days, especially if you're holding out a long time. So day 41, so cool. Let's have a look at the market cap ride. They're already past the 10,000 points mark, so they're probably getting just below 9,000 now. Yeah, they're probably getting just below 9,000, somewhere in this ballpark is my guess here. So maybe, yeah, probably just below, but maybe 8,900 points per dollar in the market cap. Was it Magic Carpet Ride? Boy, I almost couldn't even say that. So there we are. So that's what they're getting at the moment. Obviously, we're going to scroll through all the way down. It's going to get pretty high. So on day 54, which is the 20th of February, it's going to be $7.76 for 10,000 points. So, you know, getting up there to 0.00776 price is going to happen there. So it's definitely getting more expensive on that basis. And then, of course, after that day, we get rid of the second component. The volume multiplier disappears. And, of course, then you get the flat rate of 1.75 instead. And that gives you these points here on day 55 all the way through to 59. This flat rate period here, this is when we're expecting the Origin account to come into Sacrifice. So we'll see how that plays out. That's what's expected. And it does give controlling supply. But we'll see what exactly happens there. Very, very cool. All right, so nice. So our 17 trillion, if the Origin account comes in, could get up way up. You know, just as a quick number, maybe up towards the 200 trillion mark. But like I say, you could argue it's pretty much ineffective liquidity, liquid PulseX. So we'll watch out and see how that plays. Quantifiable says, but he's proving only the truth. Most people just can't handle it. Yep. And Nisha's in the house with the thumbs up. Nice. All right, let's jump over to the man himself. The hour is here, Richard Hart. Let's go to Richard Twitter. Bam. Oh, this was just such an epic post. I was waiting for this one. Pulsechain update. We've got PulseX.com working on private testnet with the 0.29% trade fee and other parameters activated and tested. So this is like going to a very fine French restaurant and being spoiled for the night if you like French food, of course. But wow, that is pretty cool. And yeah, huge. That's great to see that. That is what we're all sacrificing for at the moment. You know, freedom of association, but also the airdrop for PLSX. So nice. Remaining, the AMM ratio fixer bot is coming. This is what's coming up. Now, I've repeated this many times. The AMM bot, fixer bot. So that's the automatic market maker ratio fixer bot. And of course, it's going to have a Uniswap, SushiSwap, and others for sure. And it's also, we're waiting for the sacrifice totals. Obviously, more finalized numbers, Pulsechain, PulseX Sacrifice, and of course the DAO or incentive DAO around the incentive token and the votes around there. So cool. Also, we're going to have the pools set up, and certain pools are going to be voted by the DAO. DAO is going to be voted by the people who hold PulseX, so the people like you sacrificing. And of course, that's also going to put the incentive token applied to there as well. We are kind of waiting for a bit more information around possibly around the incentive token. We'll see how that comes in the future. So cool. That's what we got. So here is a video that was played. Hex on Yahoo Finance props for the find. Very, very cool. So I'm going to play this because this is so cool. Let me just set up my Bam, I'm back. All right, so there we are. I don't know why it doesn't seem to be able to set it up that I can just do both at the same time. But here we are. We're going to play this, and hopefully that goes. Bam, and here's the video. So this is Hex pulling. We talked about having all these walls up, people saying scam and this and that. Obviously, this is just showing that though, with all the influencers starting to give way now and getting invested in Richard Hart projects with Pulsechain, PulseX, that sort of stuff. Hex as well. That the walls start falling down. The Sense Foundation going through the Coinbase is very positive. The semi listing, indirect listing on with the how to buy Hex on Coinbase, things like these are starting to break down the barriers. And obviously now the news is starting to see it, and that's why I said we need to start doing press releases to the crypto sites, to the business sites like CNBC, stuff like that. Which I did one the other day. But you may or may not get lucky with that. It's just up to them. But here, let's listen to this one. This was a cool find, and I'm not sure if I can expand this or not. Let me.
Bitcoin coming off of some kind of scary lows here, not too scary.
Let me just see if I can.
But the price action not looking.
See if I can make that a bit bigger.
Bitcoin coming off of some kind of scary lows.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that one there.
Bitcoin coming off of some kind of scary lows here, not too scary, but
so I'll just play the audio on this anyway.
Bitcoin coming off of some kind of scary lows here, not too scary, but the price action not looking the most favorable. We'll take a 7-day view of this going back to late last week. And you can see the trend once again in the short term to the downside. Not seeing a lot of other movement here, except in some of the newcomers. Hex. This is a token or what have you that has been on a real tear and up 2,346% year to date. You can see it peaked in September along with a number of other cryptos, but just some of these newer names that have been tracking this year, and especially those that have been accelerating towards the end of the year, really capturing the crypto community's attention here. It peaked in September along 2,000 token or what have you that this is a token or what have you that has been on a real tear and up 2,346% year to date. You can see it peaked in September along with a number of other cryptos, but just some of these newer names that have been tracking this year, and especially those that have been accelerating towards the end of the year, really capturing the crypto community's attention here.
So that's really cool, and you can see the fact that he said himself. He's a person on Yahoo Finance, and he himself has said he's been watching Hex as one of his on his watch list. So very, very cool to see that, and that's the sort of thing that's going to start changing. Imagine when Pulsechain that starts coming up, it's going to be possibly the ETH killer. Could be pretty amazing to see that. So nice on that. Let me just unbellicle myself again. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was pretty cool. It was posted by Richard as well. So nice. And Maria says, Dining Dong, smash that bell, like, and subscribe. Absolutely. Subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And let's see how we're going on the old subscribers. They were trying to hit up to 2,800 on 2,779. So at the moment, we're even. We haven't increased. I lost one, I gained one. So nice one out there, folks. That's the way we go. All right, so that is the big news from Richard at the moment. Very, very nice. So we're going to get into, see if we've got any comments there. We'll quickly jump back on Hex. Let's go to the hourly on Hex, and we can see that the price is now just slightly up at 18.58 cents, starting to recover from that big sell from a Hex OG that early unstaked with a bit of penalty. Went to us T-Stake shareholders, and we say thank you very much. But, of course, in the short term, a hit of 2.5 million sold down there. Very, very congratulations to them, I guess, is the way we roll. Well, let's jump over to the Sacrifice. This is the liquid loans. We said we're going to talk about it. People have asked about it. This is the sacrifice.io. I will leave this in the video description at the end of the live stream. but definitely take a look at that. Bam, here is the link in the chat there, so you can look at that. Bam, there we are. It is now. He was only looking at price go up. He needs to be schooled on T-shares. Yeah, that's right. So that's what they do. But the thing is, you do have to have a certain amount of the OGs sell out earlier than later, because that just makes Hex get more distributed amongst new people come in. So we do have to take the hits when they come if we want a better longer term price. Obviously, all the Hex OGs that are staked out quite with good staking ladders or out long, that's all good. But we do have these shorter term people. We have probably still quite a bit in circulating supply, and our staking period, as I show in the daily vids, that's starting to break up. So we're seeing all that stuff breaking up now. The only difference there is that we will have two chains soon, and the price should get split to even that up, that the economic energy. And as we saw, Overwatch Rackham, the biggest whale in PulseX Sacrifice, said, that's basically like going to 9 cents each with a 56-cent upside on both sides. So that's the way he looked at it. And he said people selling right now, just like you say, he a little bit, I can't remember, it's quite weird. Was it insane? Not quite sure what he thought. Silly, maybe it was more kind of word, silly, something like that. So cool. Hex Holder says he was not an OG. His first Hex buy was in March 21, and he made over 10x, sold 10 million. Okay, so that's cool. Yeah, I couldn't actually find his address. I'm just assuming that he was, based on the size of Hex that he owned. But there are a few people that have picked up Hex that much earlier on like that. So thanks, Hex Huddle. It's now says roll with the punches. I get it. Absolutely. Big shout out there. All right. So the sacrifice opening soon. Are you ready? This is liquid loans, of course. Important disclaimer: if you're choosing to choose the sacrifice, you must have no expectation of profit derived from the work of others. Obviously, copying Richard's approach to the Howey test. In an act of free speech, like-minded members, community members may show their disapproval and rejection of corporate-owned, centralized stablecoins. So this really is what they're the purpose of the sacrifices around the stablecoins, centralized ones in particular. By sacrificing them in the hope of different community-owned, trustless, algorithmic stablecoins will emerge on the Pulsechain network. So this is the idea here: these decentralized algorithmic stablecoins. Richard's more around. He wants fiat-backed stablecoins, so he prefers that. But I'm quite happy with algorithmic ones, especially this one. The way they set up, as long as have a good, strong asset base with a $1 cash, reclaim, whatever you call it. So nice. The sacrifice adheres to a premise of absolutely no promises on the work of others, and only hope that something better will materialize on Pulsechain. Also, the sacrifice is modeled after key Richard Hart principles of delayed gratification, fairness, and community commitment. So sacrifice points. Here we go. So people wonder what you're sacrificing for. That's for the points. Points will be awarded on the following basis. Sacrifice should be made from the Ethereum mainnet and Binance Smart Chain. So you got those two. If you don't want pretty much close to no fees, then Binance Smart Chain is what you want to use. Only USDC, USDT, TUSD, and DAI and BUSD will count towards the sacrifice. So that means you're not trying to reduce any sell pressure from Hex by using the stable coins as well. Very cool. Your sacrifice must come from your wallet and not from an exchange. So they don't have there's one or two tokens that you can in PulseX that you can do from exchange. They don't have any of those for here, of course. Each stablecoin sacrifice will be awarded up to 10,000 sacrifice points based on when you sacrifice. The multipliers, there's going to be early. So this is the structure. Early pays better, EPB. So earliest pay better. There will be a period of 10 days at the beginning where all points will receive a maximum of 10,000 points per USD sacrifice. So pretty much like PulseX there. The sacrifice rate will then increase by 5% every day thereafter at midnight UTC. For example, on day 11, a $1.05 will receive 10,000 points. That's pretty much how that works. So pretty much the same. Now, I do know that this is going to run for 10 days at the best rate. And then, of course, it's going to then run for another 20 days with this increase of 5% is the way I understand it's going to work. That's a total of 30 days for the sacrifice period. Now, this is going to be after Pulsechain launches, by the way. Remember, they're going to have to get the contract audited. They need to have a Pulse price that they can reference in their contract. So you're probably talking at least a month after Pulsechain launches that this will go live. And sometimes that can be delayed too. So just let's say a month, just for argument's sake. But they will need those two things happening, audited, because once this contract goes live on Pulsechain, it is done. They can't change it. So if there's any errors in it, they can't fix those up. And sometimes errors can be catastrophic. Even a little error can really stuff up the platform. So they have to make sure it's going to be running smooth as possible. So cool. Bigger pays better. Now, the other side of the course is this is also based on liquidity, which is on the Ethereum blockchain. So this is a fork of that project, and with a few little changes. So the audit should be fairly good with that. Bigger pays better is the other part. So earlier pays better, bigger pays better. All sacrifices and their bonus will be totaled and stacked, ranked by sending address. Multiplier will be applied for each point, starting from the largest sacrifice point address to the smallest. The top address will earn 2.5x on their first point. The bottom address will earn 1x on their last point, similar to how Pulsechain and PulseX Sacrifice phases have run. So you can see that these two ones here are pretty similar to the way PulseX is run. And of course, here is a third component, which is not part of PulseX. And that is, I think this is actually a very good measure, and longer pays better. Longer pays better. So sacrifices will, so Hex obviously had longer pays better. Sacrifices an effective Hex rate. So sacrifices will willing to delay gratification can earn up to 2.5x on their points. You will earn 6% more points every month that you delay gratification. So they've actually increased this number here. So that's pretty cool. In month 24, you earn 12% and maximum 2.5x bonus. So very big on the volume bonus there. So very cool. So if you're bullish on the price, then that's very cool. Yeah, so nice. I think that over time that the token's getting distributed amongst many more users, so it could become quite scarce. So cool. Duration of sacrifice will last a total of 30 days only. As I said, any funds sent past the end of the day 30th of sacrifice will be forfeited and earn 0 sacrifice points. So there is a dead end to this. There's no mercy period like Richard has run for Pulsechain, for example. So cool. Important disclaimer: if you choose to sacrifice, you must have no expectations of profit derived from the work of others. The sacrifice has not started. Beware of scams. So, of course, there's going to be an official announcement on their site. So that there is the basic stuff. Obviously, the stable coin is USDL on that project. And, of course, the token on there is loan token. It's a dual token system, the loan token on there. So, cool. Easy says, bam, smash the likes. I like that. And Mike says, how much will one loan token be worth at launch? Well, we don't know. We don't know. They're going to pools for that. The dumper then transferred the 1100 ETH he got for the Hex out to a centralized exchange, but not before it lost about 3% or 75k. Really? Oh, that's pretty hardcore. Hey, Hex Hodl, thanks for following that. Like I said, I didn't actually find where he said that stuff too, so big shout out to you. That's crazy. Easy says liquid loans. Oh, I'm trying to think which one I'm thinking of now. Yeah, the last one, yeah. Liquid Loans, Easy said, Liquid Loans also said that they were on talks with many exchanges for their tokens, yeah. So they're wanting to have fiat on-ramps and off-ramps with that, and also with exchanges, so that you can switch it out into the real world, into the fiat world, as we call it. So they are looking at that. Nice one, Easy. What's up, Hex community? Hey, Ryan's good to see you in the house. Hey, big one there. And Hex Hodder says, well, Hex is up 6% from the dip. And, yep, yeah, right, that's true. Like, there's always an opportunity cost, right, Hex Hodder? Sometimes you win it, sometimes you lose it. Easy says, woohoo, yeah. And imagine when the price is going to go, where we think the price is going to go, it's going to be you're going to regret selling that was it 10, 12 million or whatever it was he sold. Sean says, had a friend that sacrificed 20,000 today. Oh, nice one. I think that's a good move. Like I said, it's still not still getting a pretty good rate at the moment. And very, very cool. Sean K says, woohoo, he's still early. Yeah, absolutely, Sean. Ryan says 2022 is going to be amazing. I think it's going to be out of this world, Ryan. Really is cool. Now we are going to talk about the only thing that is an issue for me, and so we're going to talk about that during this live stream. But we need to look at the what's happening in the bigger, wider world there. Brennan says have to head out for a wee bit. See you next time. Hey Brennan, peace out. Thanks very much, and we'll talk to you again soon. Later, man. Later. Nice. All right. So let's get in. So this is here now with the sacrifice coming for liquid loans. You can get your referral code. I've got my referral code in the video description, so you can use that to get your own referral code. And all you have to do is hit the referral code stuff here. Very, very cool. And you can get your own one. Just hit the referral button there. Basically, you've got all the details here, participation. You've got all the steps that you can follow. Pretty easy. I must say the marketing these guys are doing is top-notch and quite easy to follow, especially when, it can get a bit murky for people. They're very, very cool. It's got the rewards here. Of course, we went through this yesterday, so I'm sort of speeding through it. But basically, if you're a referrer, you've got a referral code, you give it to somebody, you'll earn 5% of their sacrifice points. But they will also get 5%. So if you're a referee, you're using someone's referral code, you get 5% too. So it's based on a win-win. The referrer gets 5%, and the referee who uses the code gets 5%. Very, very cool. So both of you must sacrifice though to qualify $500 yourself. So you must to qualify for that bonus. If you're a self-referrer, basically this is a person that's referred a lot of accounts. They'll earn 10% of their own sacrifice points with 10 or more referees of their own sacrifice points. Okay, so that's pretty nice balance there. So that's basically the idea there. So cool. So basically a 5% on both sides, a win-win. But as a self-referrer, if you get over 10 referrals, you will get 10% of your own sacrifice points, which I think is pretty nice. Earn 5% of your referee sacrifice points, and a referee earns 5% of their own points. So nice. So very, very cool. And of course, here's a couple of examples here. We won't go through those. But to get your link, you can use this one, secure your referral link here. So you can just click on that as well. And if you want to get to that sacrifice page that we looked at, this one here, with all the details, check the sacrifice page. Now, what I think this is how I see it pictured. We've got Pulsechain as the platform or network. We've got PulseX as the exchange and incentive stuff. We've got Hex as your savings account with the amazing APY, 38-40%. And then, of course, we've got a bank or savings, a bank or lending. So you've got savings in Hex, a bank or lending through the liquid loan. So I think those four things fit together in a beautiful modern DeFi that only crypto can offer, where we're all becoming our own self-bank and able to earn a return. So that's how I feel very good about liquid loans in that context. So very, very cool. And of course, you can join the Telegram. The sacrifice page is there. You can just hit the referral link here, and this will help you to generate your own link. You can make a new address in your wallet, for example, new Ethereum address, which you use on Pulsechain, and you can just say, you understand this. You just click that, and you can put your address in here, and then you'll get your link generated. So you'll get link generated. If you get any referrals, it will show below. Once you've added your wallet in, you'll get referral link. You'll be able to. Your referral link doesn't have your wallet in it, by the way. It's kind of a masked one. It's very cool. Gives you privacy. But if you get some referrals, it will show down below and get out there. So, hey, it's a win-win, 5% each. I think there's a perfect balance for referrals. I don't like referrals that are really much bigger than that. I think that damages the project and typically sinks them. And I've seen so many of them, and I'm sure many of you have seen so many with high referral programs that basically kill the project, and only those people that get in first do well on the project before it dies. Everyone else gets is the ones that end up losing out of that. So I think this is a perfect balance the way they've set up the bonus there. Hex also had a little referral bonus when it started off too. So nice on that. All right. So let us jump away from there. We're going to have a look at the market. Before we do that, we're going to get into some of the comments here. Actually, I might just leave it on that page before we get onto the market stuff. So we've got Rudia says this is going to be life-changing. Absolutely will be. And Easy says, guys, just be ready for markets to tank much lower until March. Stock markets SPY will have a 20% more lower go. Yeah, I think that's definitely on the cards. So definitely true. Easy says truth, and nice. John Gibbons says liquid could be good if not much gets sacrificed, but everyone starts using it. Those who sacrifice will do well. Yeah, and I think they will get a lot of users. It's also going to be because people are collateralizing Pulse on the liquid loans. They'll get US dollars, and many of those people can either use it on the platform to earn the passive rewards there through the stabilizing pools and stuff like that, or they can go onto Pulsechain and buy up Pulse. So there actually could be a major source of demand for Pulse and push the price up. So one of many major demands, but I think it's going to be a very serious one. So yeah, good point there, John. Alice says, will liquid loans do something with the PLX token or just the PLS? So it's just the PLS on that one, Alice, just the PLS. It's I got no stakes ending before then. Are you? No, well, I'm staked out way out further. So yeah, not happening for me. And I'm not going to end stake anything for that. So I understand the leverage. I know why a lot of people have end stakes, but yeah, I wouldn't be doing it myself. I'm expecting lots of big money to come into the Hex space, so I'm willing to play off those two opportunities. But some people aren't. Some people would have early insight. We've seen so many penalties, and of course, they're not all just going to sacrifice for PulseX for the upside, but a lot of them have been. I'm an option and stock trader since 1998 and invest crypto long term on these projects to all good by me. Yeah, nice one, Easy. Good to hear that too. And Easy says Richard is smart. Will time this bear splash by March and end into April? Yeah, I think so. It's all good things come to those who stake long. Yeah, that's true. Well, you're basically riding through the price cycles. I'm going to talk about the correction soon, but we'll get into that. Agree, especially in crypto. Mike said Liquid Loans is considering having Hex as a collateral, but they said they will ask Richard Hart's permission first if he's okay with it. Okay, I guess they could add that into the code quite reasonably. Be interesting to see how that plays out. That would be quite cool, getting Liquid Hex off the market. That actually would work quite well. That might be something that Richard likes because it makes sense to me. That would be actually accelerate the price fundamentals, and Richard typically has liked that sort of thing. So, all right, so let's jump over to the market stuff. Have a look at this. We're up to an hour and 10, so we're doing pretty well, folks. Let's say this is by Andrew Galbraith on investing.com. Just to update, Asian shares fell to their lowest in more than 14 months. Short-term US yields rose to 23-month highs, and the dollar strengthened on Thursday after the Fed's Reserve's chairman signaled plans to steadily tighten policy. At the same time, rising investors concerned over political tension between Russia and Ukraine exacerbated worries over tight energy market supply, keeping oil prices elevated at multi-year highs. Now, this Russia-Ukraine thing, this is for me is not the big deal. I know that these people write about it, but the biggest problem that America has is actually GDP. This is actually positive for inflation potentially, not always, but potentially. Is they actually have declining manufacturing. That's the biggest issue in the United States. So though they put these headlines, they're very topical, very geopolitical. And they're important. The real big underlying issue is the decline in manufacturing. So that's probably the biggest thing, and therefore the flow on to GDP, stuff like that. Exacerbated worries over tight energy supply. In its latest policy update on Wednesday, the Fed indicated it is likely to raise U.S. interest rates in March, and as has been widely expected, and reaffirmed plans to end its bond purchases that month. So that's another big deal too, as the bond purchases obviously expanding the monetary supply. So they'll be actually reducing that from the looks of it. So it's not just a sudden stop, it'll be just a reduction. But that all that money's been used, of course, to filter out into assets and speculative assets, property, stocks, and crypto. Very important. And we've pretty much had this since 2008. So we've been in a long, low interest environment. Typically, we had 7-year interest rate cycles. They were just blasted away. And the intended design for these, of course, was to push up the assets. And that's exactly what they did, pretty much stabilize the economy. And that's what we've seen, a huge long run for that time. So that's interesting stuff. But in the following up press, we are in potentially a big giant bubble. That's the big black swan event. And I hope it doesn't happen that way. I hope we just get a 20% correction. But like Easy's kind of talking about there, I think you had it up here, didn't you? Yeah, Easy said had 20% or more or lower. Yeah, let's hope we just get a 20% correction. But man, if this thing ever unraveled, it would not be great outcome. This is the one black swan event, and even though we don't want to talk about it, we should talk about it because obviously it makes a big impression. This is probably why we should always have a certain percentage of your portfolio, especially if you've been getting heavy profits. You should have a certain amount in stable coins preserved so that you have you are taking profits and stuff like that. So you got to get that balance right between risk and reward. So it's just something for to think about. You need to ultimately make up a decision about that. But if asset values fall, especially outside of Richard Hart's projects in particular, then you're going to have that issue. Fortunately, Hex is heavily in USDC, but once again, people can still sell it down. But it does reduce the chances that we don't see with Hart's law, with ETH and Bitcoin, that stuff falling down. So just some interesting stuff going on there. But in the following up press conference, Powell warned that inflation remains above the Federal's long-run goal and supply chain issues may be more persistent than previously thought. So inflation's 7% plus. I think it's going to get higher. So that's the other thing that I think these guys and even if they do a 1-2% increase in the interest rates, then you still got about 5% net, and I actually think it's going to go higher than that. So I don't think they've got much room to do anything. They're talking like they do. They're talking like they have capacity. I don't think they have much capacity without actually hurting the economy even more. So it's going to be interesting to see them play out. There was a market shift in terms of a relatively dovish statement and then a relatively hawkish press conference. Okay, so there was a marketed shift in terms of a relatively dovish statement, but then a relatively hawkish press statement. So bit of conflicting there. Global market strategist Asia Pacific said, so Powell is not committing to the size of the frequency, size or the frequency of rate hikes, and also the timing of the balance sheet reduction. And of course, we were expecting potentially up to 4 rate hikes if GDP does fall, because manufacturing is falling big time in the US. Then we may get just 2 is the way, and that would actually probably be better for the markets from that point of view. But the US underlying economy would still be struggling. That may give some ease to inflation, but not much more than that. So I think the buys buys him a bit of wiggle room as to how quickly and with what velocity he wants to normalize monetary policy in the US. But we are expecting a rate rise in March, so that's probably definitely on the table, that one. It's very data dependent, and so we're certainly watching other economic data that's going to be released, especially inflation data, inflation expectations data, which I don't think could trigger more aggressive monetary policy tightening. Yeah, but like I said to you, I think they're missing the ball. Manufacturing is in major decline, and so that's really the bigger issue. As someone pointed out the other day, the best offsetting thing for inflation has been the technology revolutions. I think we've had something like 18 different sectors with massive technological revolutions, which help offset a lot of this money printing in terms of deflationary aspects. Concerns that the Fed will increasingly prioritize fighting inflation while share markets raising the Wall Street rally. So you can see how it has its impact on there. Asians shares also tumbled. So cool. So we had a nice healthy correction. That might be good, 20% on the stock market, but it'd be better than us having a full-blown scale wipeout, because remember, this has been going pretty much bar one season, I think 2013, pretty much since 2008 for the most part. So we've got this massive upward swing. And of course, that's a huge bubble. So we've got those things are very real. We just don't know when that bubble will pop. So if they can actually do a 20% correction, it might give us a nice long elongated move up higher. And that could actually be good before we get to something bad potentially. So that actually plays in favor of crypto. So cool. Policy sensitive 2-year yield jumped amid expectations of Fed tightening, rising to the top of 1.17% in morning trade. So that was two-year bonds. The 10-year yield also ticked up Wednesday, rising from 1.85 from 1.84. So I think last week that was about 1.71 or something like that. So definitely higher on the 10-year rates. The dollar rose on the back of higher yields, lifting a US dollar index, which means the greenback against major peers. And so that's what we've seen, the US dollar strengthening as well. That's kind of risk off as well a little bit. So that's what we're seeing there too. Adding to global investors' concerns, the United States said Wednesday it had set up out diplomatic stuff with Russia. So that's short-term stuff. I don't see that as big stuff at that time. Very cool. Obviously, if a war broke out, that's a different thing. But just the threat of a war just caused a little bit of tremors there. So we'll see on that one. All right, so then we're going to have a look at the asset indicators. So we've got the S&P 500. I haven't got the NASDAQ on here. It's probably better for the techs, because the tech companies are the ones that are really driving that market up. You know, the Apples and the Amazons and the Googles and the Microsofts of the world, those sort of things. And they've actually been generally reporting pretty good this week. So that's not been too bad. So that's on the indices. And let's have a look on, if we have a look at the Dow Industrials, which is the top 30 firms. Let's have a look at this. I'm going to pull this out for all time. Let's have a look at all time. You can see all time. See what I mean by a bubble? Look how high the chart is now. Look how high the chart is. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about bubble. Yeah, so if we can have a 20% correction, that'd be really good without having a collapse. So just easing off a bit here, maybe like that we had back here in 2020, just a bit of ease off, and up we go. So this is the old little sort of COVID period, I guess, is around here. I'm not familiar with any particular other event that was on that time. Yeah, definitely a little easing off would be better than a complete meltdown in the price. So we'll look out for that. All right, so let me just jump back to there. So we got oil, of course, went over $90 as well. Bit of profit taking on that. Oil is very high, so that's great. That's terrible. I mean, a lot of the stuff represents really bad policy choices by the United States administration. So here we're back. Oil, obviously a net importer now. Disaster move, really. And of course, you can see that the index on the US dollar, if we go to the current indexes, the US dollar index here is increasing as people take risk off as US is the reserve currency. Still is, right? People talk about it being overthrown, but it still is the reserve currency, at least for the time being. So cool. Bond year rates, of course, we're talking about that. They're up 1.84, 2 years at 1.18 as well. And so we're seeing that starting to rise as well, which is, risk off too. And stocks, of course, are coming down there as well. And finally, cryptocurrencies down here. Obviously, we all know what's happening there. Total is 1.6 trillion at the moment, the total market cap. Of course, that was over 3 trillion, folks. So there's some serious correction happened in the crypto market. But once again, the crypto market, you get the best returns, right? So that's the way it goes. And this is where part of the genius of Richard comes in, of course, is the US dollar US dollar trying to break down Hart's law by having 85% of the liquidity in a stable coin, and then just getting circulating supply off the market, getting scarcity into play, and of course bringing on more demand, and you make you're able to push that price up when all the others are going down, particularly in bear markets. Then you get able to get it up. So my only concern, of course, is if I'd rather have a nice 20% correction rather than having a super bear market, which we don't want anything like that. Hopefully they can manage it better than that. Is our hope moving forward. So that gives us a nice environment. Hope you guys like that update about that. I think it's actually probably more important now than it has been. I wouldn't have talked about that in previous times, but this is definitely an important topic now. Just something to keep aware of for sure. And also think about your risk management with US dollars, taking some profits. Don't have everything on the table, that sort of thing. So it's very important to give good financial management. 3 says, hello, is it now? I don't know. It could be now. Hey, good to see you. And Easy says, fake news. Most of USA news are all hype. That's true, Easy. And that was actually out of Singapore, but yeah, I get with you that's why I have to reinterpret some of the stuff that's in the article. Easy says, all the Russian news are hype. Yep, I agree with you on that. Balliet Brand's in the house. Great stream, my friend. Always good to have Balliet Brand in the house. Hey, BB. I like it, so big thumbs up. Young Kim says, personally, not a big fan of liquid loans. Yeah, well, that's one thing. It's just an option. People can do it or not do it. So I think that's probably the way it works. The thing I like about it is collateral lending, and it does play a good role, I think, in the ecosystem. But once again, it's up to your appetite. So cool. Ivana says PLS will be trading at the same price as XRP when it launches. Zero. There will be party between the two assets. Nice one there, Ivana. That's very funny. All right, so it's now says one of my favorite onboards. Yeah. And EZ says, guys, but this extra 20% more correction will be fast into a few months, and by then Pulse will be out on the March, end of April. So good. Yeah, I think the timing hopefully will work pretty well with that EZ, but that's probably the most important thing. Pulse is launching at zero. Can it really be affected by a bear market? Can't really fall any further. Anyway, is up, baby, and for me and Pulse now. Yeah, so my point is the fact that it affects the upside potential, not the fact that it's not going to be worth more than zero. Ryan says the Fed is inflation will get much worse. Yeah, I agree with that, Ryan. Which is beautiful, right? Hex offers you that 38-40% APY, and I really don't see much of that going away in terms of the percentage on the Hex payout. It's just the US dollar value, which is somewhat protected by Hex, and hopefully a lot of people see that more of Hex is more of a stable coin. I think if we can get more supply off the market as we're going, we have been doing an awesome job. But obviously bring some more demand, getting some more of that Hex off the market. I think that plays even more well into having a strong Hex stable coin with a high APY. That's the holy grail for me. And that's why I always talk about the circulating supply. That's why I always talk about the sacrifice. That's why I always smile when we come to the PulseX Sacrifice, is because I'm thinking about getting that Hex off the market and getting to that really strong kind of stable coin mindset. That's why I don't mind some of the OGs and some maybe as EZ pointed out. It was easy. Somebody pointed out there earlier that even people that got in maybe March 2021 got some big bags. Get them out earlier than later. Cal says they're talking about putting in gas line from Australia to Europe for Oz to Europe to bypass Russia. Austria to Europe I'm not sure what the Oz is one. Austria. to Europe to bypass Russian one. Yeah, I think that's all a bit late. I think they've botched up a lot of that stuff there, Cal. They could have just stopped that earlier, but they didn't. Ivana's P says price can only go up. Yeah, that's true, but there's a potential of upness, right? And to the right, yeah, it's right. John says, what does hawkish means? Means that really sort of more aggressive as dovish. So they use the term hawkish, more aggressive, dovish, less aggressive, kind of not so aggressive at all. It's kind of like that. So in other words, they're going to raise rates going up, going to pull rates going down. We're going to maybe pull rates down, kind of thing. Easy says Google it, lol. And Ivana says Europe are to blame for lack of gas. They removed all the gas storage. Now have to buy off spot now, and futures the genius of Europhiles. Yeah, they're not too bright there. Ivana, I agree with that. Start page it, nice. And Hex Token says what's there to manage? It's all staked. Just buy and stake more before the fork. So that's about Hex there, says Hex Huddle. Cool. There's a lot of people that don't have it staked there, Hex Huddle. Ryan says it is hard for my countrymen and I to used to set the truth. We are being run by morons and warmongers. I'm trying to save as many people as I can. Nice one, Ron. I like that. New thing says, hi, bro. Hey, good to see a new thing. Hey, it's been a little while. Glad you can make it towards the end of the live stream. John says, easy tiger. Easy tiger. Nice one. And I just can't stand lazy people. Nice one. And Ryan Ivan says, I live in the UK and we have massive oil and gas reserves in the North Sea. Problem is they won't pump it as it's not green. That's right. Rich, what else? Pipeline from Australia to Europe. Oh, thanks there. That'd be pretty. Don't they just have the big ships up north with the big refineries and those ships and stuff that they take from Australia? I thought they did, but why stop at the moon? Yeah, we're not stopping at the moon. We're going to the Mars on this live stream. Ding Wolf's in the house, up and to the right, and it's nice and tight. That's a good saying there. Ding Wolf, very, very cool. Let's jump back to the Hex price. The Hex price is moving up a little bit more, 18.61 cents. So just a little bit of increase there during the live stream, so that's nice. And what else we got going on here? Let's have a look at update for the PulseX. Let's just go a little refresher on that, and we are climbing. So 996,600,000 US dollars. We are $3.6 million away from 1 billion just on these three chains: Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon Matic, and we're pretty close to that. Of course, I estimate somewhere around about 10. Now, when I say estimate, I've got a spreadsheet over here. You can't see it, but I've got a print update on here. So a spreadsheet that indicates that we're probably at 1 billion and about 24, 25 million, somewhere in that ballpark at the moment, including the other stuff that's not on these three chains. Estimated total sacrifice points hit over 7 trillion today. Very, very cool. Or yesterday, I would say. It's just basically hit the 17 trillion mark. That's really nice to see. And of course, we've got some sacrifices still sacrificing reasonably large money. As someone said earlier, they had, I think it was their brother, was it? $20,000. So that was pretty decent. That would put you in the top 5,000 wallets, assuming that at the timestamp, of course. This is all based on most of the people would have got in on the earlier days, the first 12 days, 20,000 there. Alex Fame says, once your life is so liquid with resources, what will you do with it? And the real question. That's right. That's true. Catherine says, great streamed Hex token. That's I appreciate that. And Ryan's, it's all a joke. I'm just waiting for the punchline. New thing says, a lot of new guys stake Hex short period and dump price. Yeah, so we do get a lot of short stakers. So it's all about education. And, Kareem the Dream does a lot around that. He does, talk about his dream account. He's a shark in Hex, staked pretty much everything between 10 15 years from what I can tell from his testimonies. So a lot of people doing that. And then there's people with staking ladders. And that's what I think Hex is really designed for. I know that the Beth Mathematics is always staking 10 years or more, like 3,641 days or more. But staking ladder is really a great way of design for Hex, that you can have, income coming out. And sometimes you can take, even the short stakers don't bother me too much because maybe they just take the interest off and then they just keep rolling forward. Slowly over time, they get less shares because they're getting beaten by the share rate every time. So it deals with that sort of thing too. That means that allows more people to get more. We know that the Hex per T-share rate is going to go up and to the right. People at one day in the future will be getting 50, 60 type of Hex per T-share. And we already see that creeping over 6 Hex now. So it's pretty cool. It's going to be lots of fun. We're early, folks. Virality is coming. I said 2022, 2023 is going to be major for Virality. We're over the 2-year mark and looking stronger than ever on that front. We know that we've got potentially billionaires coming into the play. And that's my only concern about the bigger market is that we protect the value of those billionaires, that they pull all this money in, that are coming in, that are interested in coming in, people that have got hundreds of millions and stuff like that. So looking forward to that. John says BZ body, and Matt and Barley says we need a big shark to bite off $3 million of ETH Sac to it PulseX to hit 1 billion. Any sharks in here? Come on, you can do it. Yeah, and that's right. To get the 1 billion mark on those chains. Easy says lol, and nice one says John, thumbs up. Question: if sacrifice 50 to 100,000, will that makes you a small whale? Or yeah, I think it does. I think that does. I think that makes you a small whale. 20 is there. Let's have a look at 1,000. $100,000. So yeah, I think so. I think 50. What'd you say? 50 or 100? Yeah, that would. Well, obviously you're getting half the point or less than half the points now. You're getting, was it probably 40% of the points or something like that? 35%, 40% of the points you originally got on the first day. But it would still put you in a pretty strong position. Ivan says, I'm in the top 150 for both PLS and PLX. Don't need, I think I need any more. Hey, well done there, Ivana. And short stakes are like paying tuition to the university. You learn. Yeah. Ryan says a Hex sponsored car in the Daytona 500 will be so awesome. Yeah, so that's going to get a lot of press. There's something like, I think they said there's something like 10 million viewers that watch that. It's probably, maybe there's more, but 10 million is a heck of a lot. It has huge profile in the United States, the car racing too, the V8s, the Daytona. I was privileged to go there, and not when it was live, but I saw some of the cars racing around the tracks, just training, I guess. And man, it was such a cool atmosphere in there. I can imagine what it's like. I can't imagine what it's like with the full audience stadium kitted out, because it was pretty empty when I was there. But man, it makes the beautiful sound as the V8s move around that track. It was pretty something special. Now, apparently, our driver is very good. So I think he actually had the track record for, or second best track record, something like best or second best track record for one of the races. So it looks pretty exciting. I think we've got a good chance of doing well with that as well. Obviously, if it wins, of course, this car will be blasted all over American TV as well. So that would be pretty cool. So we're looking forward to that. True Blue says 75. Now, they could have lots of other stuff. They're going to try and have some flags and possibly people with body paint and all sorts of stuff. They've got lots of ideas there, and they've got some money to make that happen. So looking forward to it. That was such a huge deal. That's what starts to get the word out around Hex, PulseChain, PulseX, is stuff like that makes a real good. People say, oh, yeah, I saw that. I saw that at the Daytona. And then that makes them much more likely to take that next look. They are going to have hex.com on the car, apparently. That will make it very easy for people to go, oh, hex.com, what's that? And they'll go check it out on their phones. Check it out. So cool. Matt and Barley's got the shades on. Nice. And Easy says true. And about Ivana there. And Dingle says, can you make out you're calling a greyhound race? You have a good voice for it. Hey, Dingo, well, appreciate that. People said since I lost since I'm not using this mic here, with the old mic, they said I sound more like a race commentator on that. So it was funny. John Gibbons says Daytona 500 car Netflix documentary and Richard Hart on Alex Friedman. What a marketing push. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Things are breaking down. Richard's really climbing on the YouTube, and things are really starting to work. This year is looking great. Obviously, big shout out to Kinetics team on Discord Syndicate and that. They're doing lots of great stuff. Big shout out to Matty Allen on his channel, doing the conferences and stuff. So people they're finding their niche. They're finding their place where they can make a big impact. And it's all happening at once. All this expanding out, as it were. The empire, crypto domination empire is just expanding out. This is before Pulsechain's even launched. And like I say, when that bridge opens, it's going to be insane. It's going to be the fastest mass adoption. It's going to be insane. We're sitting here just sort of quietly dreaming, but I think it's going to blow our minds how big that's going to be. It's going to shock and awe us with how many people will come on the adoption when that bridge opens up. As the word spreads, the first day, the first week, the first month, it's just going to go, yeah, looking. It could be log scale, it could be exponential scale. It's going to be epic scale. I know that epic scale is like this. Epic scale. It's like, that's what Richard does. There he goes up. He goes up and to the right. That's pretty funny stuff. Anyway, I better calm down. But you get my point. Izzy says only a start will kaboom. That's right. And Ivana says, is the Lex Friedman interview a go? It thought we had put him off. Yeah, because they Twitter stormed or something, didn't they, Ivana? They Twitter stormed him, and apparently they got put off. But hopefully Richard Hart will be back on the table there for Lex Friedman. They say Lex Friedman's a stepstone until you get to what's the guy that silly platform? What's it? Josh Rogan. Yeah, Josh Rogan. Yeah, the biggest what's it, radio guy, not radio, what is it, oh god, I can't even believe, I look at it all the time and I can't even believe it, like remember right now. I can't believe it, can't remember what it is. There's 10 million, he's got 10 million people that listen to him every day or something, and of course they're trying to kick him off all the platforms, even though he's a free speech person, right? There's a hate free speech for some reason, not sure why. Izzy says woohoo. And Hexforce says also if we so that Lex Friedman's a stepping stone to Josh Rogan, yeah, so looking good there. But apparently Kinetics, I think Kinetics was saying something about that they're trying to get him on. They're working on something to get him on to Josh Rogan or whatever. So that's pretty cool. Got to make sure Josh Rogan. Yeah, Josh Rogan. I'm pretty sure that's right. Hex Pound says I think RH is. Sorry, Hexforce says also if we win the race, the car will be in a display in the NASCAR Hall of Fame for a year or more. Oh, is that right, Hexforce? That's pretty cool. And Hexhound says I think Richard Hart is right. It's after the first 2 years, then things really start blowing up. That's absolutely right. So here we are. We're moving into the third year, and we can already see that a lot of things are growing, and that's really cool. And the community itself is doing a lot of stuff. So very exciting. Moon scale, I like that. Lex wants to do it in person, and Richard wants to do a live stream as he's too busy to travel. I see, yeah. Well, Lex's studio is pretty simple, right? It's basically like a black cloth up, is it? And a little table, little chairs and tables. It's pretty simple. They're good interviews, though. Lex is a nice guy. I think he does judo, doesn't he? Judo or something like that. Ryan says I can't buy enough Hex right now. I feel like it's going to rip any day and never look back. I agree with you on that. These prices are cheap. That's what happens during these times. You're absolutely right. During these times, let's pull out the day. This is what tricks out people when we get this kind of mulling around here. And as I said, it kind of looks like these little ones that we've got. We get this little bigger rise, then a pullback, and then a bigger rise, and then a pullback, and then a bigger rise, and then a pullback. And a bigger rise, and a pullback, and then it's away of the roses again. It's kind of like the big giant size. Because basically, once imagine we get into the dollars, let's go up to the dollars here. Let's take it up to I don't know, $3 or something. Once we get to $3, I mean, look how high the chart will look at $3, right? It's like massive, right? Leaves everything else here. What's big at the moment gets pretty small once we get in the dollars. So it does, that scale. Let's have even at $1 here, dollars up here. So let's put another line up here for $1. $1 is definitely a psychological. There'll be a massive a battle at the dollar. A lot of people will be wanting to sell stuff at $1. It will be a big challenge. I think we've got a better idea of getting up to the 60-70 mark, and then we'll see how that plays out. But you're getting that $1's pretty tough. So yeah, pretty cool. But hey, some people are targeting $7 this year, and some people say $3 by the end of the year. Some people say $15 to $30 by the end of the year. So I mean, there's different people saying different things. I definitely think that we can definitely get into the dollar ranges this year for sure. If we get the billionaires and the big counts coming in, the Hex scales of the world, that sort of stuff. I've ruined my chart now. As you can see, I've actually smashed the chart with the old price scale. Make sure we got the right scale there. That's better. Yeah, that's not too bad. All right, so let's go back to the hourly on there. I can't remember. I think I said what I was going to say on that chart. I can't remember. Bam. All right, we've got to get the price scale on this now. So we'll pull that up. Yeah, it's not too bad. 18.62 cents. It's recovering slowly. Matt and Barley says Did you see Richard's GIF he put on Twitter, falling from the sky? I'm not sure if I saw that. Let me just refresh this. Maybe he's just posted that. No, we looked at these ones. I don't know if we looked at other stuff. I'm not sure if we looked at other stuff there. Hexflex. Joe Rogan, thank you. Yeah, Joe Rogan. What is saying? Josh Rogan. It is Joe Rogan. Thank you very much for correcting me on that. Easy says, have you guys seen this YouTube dude who was hating on Richard? Unreal, these haters are. Yeah, well, they're falling to the wayside there, Easy. They're becoming very small minorities now. Podcast. Thank you, Ivana. Yeah, sorry about that. I just had a mind blank on all that stuff around Joe Rogan and the podcast. Just mind blank there. Sorry about that. Hex Hound says agree. Joe Rogan podcast. That's correct. Yeah, Joe Rogan. Yeah. So I just had a brain freeze. It's like just lost it. It was really crazy. The RH video with fake Satoshi in London is classic viewing. If you haven't seen it, watch it, folks. That's pretty funny for sure. And Ryan says Hex scale will be big. Any updates on when they maybe start buying? Well, we know that they had a pretty much a soft launch on the 30th of December. Kinetics has talked about giving us little updates, but we really haven't had any in the videos that I've seen from them. So I think they've gone hush on that a bit more. They have got Mountain Advisors up and running. They have been interviewing people, particularly some hexagons like Hexologist and Wales Only have been clients of that now. And so they're growing that. But there was talk about them having a $1 billion distribution line. They were going to hit their private targets through that. So we haven't really heard much about that side of it. But I imagine that they have started to, it's probably since mid-January, they've started to possibly, build on the clients onto that. Obviously, the Christmas, New Year period is pretty quiet with the holidays as well. So I imagine hopefully we'll hear something soon about that from Kinetics. Hexhound says, I really thought 10 cents was going to be a battleground. We blew right through it. Yeah. I do think that $10 is going to be pretty serious, though. $1 is also a big deal for the big fish. Typically, $1 is something that people, say, hey, this is a pretty serious commodity now. It's $1 now. Now we can, more institutional orientated on that one. So cool. Matt and Barley says close down a little more. Yeah. All right. So I think we're at an hour and 40. I think we're probably going to wrap up there, folks. I think it's been a pretty good session. Let's end on the Hex price. Probably a good place to finish. Actually, let's let Hex on Pulse lead. When I was ending up there, let's do another little refresh just to give a final update. 996,615. So another 15K just in that little period of time that we updated. So it's crazy good, eh? On Twitter. Yeah, close down a little more. Oh, a little more on Twitter. All right. So let me just scroll down. Something falling down, you said. Can't see anything falling down. That's obvious. Yeah. Oh, here, that one there. I'm sure someone will find this epic to use. That one there. I think you might be talking about that one. Cool. Ryan says, great session. And it's now says, great stream, Hex Token. I appreciate that. Scroll down a little further for the GIF. And I think it's called the Joe Rogan podcast. Yeah, I think it is, Ivan. PS says, thanks. Hey, you're most welcome. So thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for and I'm going to pass that out. Bam. And cool. Thanks for watching. Thanks again, says Matt and Barley. And John says thanks again. And John says thanks again. And Easy says, do you think, guys, PulseX to hit 10 cents 2 years? It is very likely it can. Paul, what did Hex did? Yeah. Why not? Why not, Easy? Why not, I say. Richard Hart's what was talking about 14,000X, that sort of thing, said definitely possible. Time frame willing. So nice. All right, so let's end up that. I'm going to post some emojis. Let me do some of those. And we're going to post some of these. This is what people who are Hex token channel members get to use. So in addition to the cool little symbol in the chat there. So nice. And I'm just going to go way back up to the top. Let us find out. Right at the beginning of the live stream, folks. Right at the beginning of the live stream was MVM became a channel member. Big shout out to MVM. And as I do my little bow down and salute, hope you guys enjoy yourself. Take care, everybody. Have a great time. And yeah, that price for Hex looks pretty good. Pick up some more bags. Stake it to make it, relax, and divs, something like that. All right, bye for now.